supply side, everybody is in a silo doing their own thing. So that is why it results on digitization, and that the e-content is merely telling, not enough of showing, and it remains curriculum and exam-centric and conventional approach, and a lot of the media is for eye candy. It is beautiful, but very low economic and pedagogical value, merely eye candy. So that's remain as our challenges as we move forward. So I would like to share with you some of our analysis. This is probably this is an upgrade of the first generation e-content. In our analysis, because of those challenges that I highlighted, this is the result. This is an example of what we analyze. This is a second generation or an upgrade of the first generation e-content by our Ministry of Education. As you can see that there's already a teacher there. So this is like substituting the teacher. The e-content is looked at as a teacher surrogate. Yeah? So the teacher it encourages plug, play, and watch, because everything is done for the teacher. So that's even the content asks the students, yeah, like the teacher giving instructions in the classroom. So that's an example. So in our analysis, that e-content should not try to replace the teacher. Sorry. Okay. And this is another example. We feel that a 3D multidimensional can be infused here, because if you don't know this, it looks like it's coming from the textbook, yes? So our input was that a 3D multidimensional display or presentation of the tortoise would help, or a video showing the different parts, and that practice with puzzles. These are some of our comments in our analysis. Okay, this is the third generation. However, there's still a lot of problems. And this is a 3D actually, very expensive to develop. It's a 3D. It's an Islamic lesson showing the students how to take the wudu to cleanse himself before he does the prayer, before the salat. So our comment was, is there a need for 3D? No. A video showing a person doing the ablution is sufficient, and probably even better. 3D for this is very expensive. So this is some of the analytical comments that we gave to the parties involved. So our recommendations. We need to sustain the transformation effort to our Ministry of Education. Therefore, we are creating two strategies. Strategy one is we are establishing the communities of practice for the supply side and the demand side to support the MOE in transforming towards this next-gen e-content. And you see that in the supply side, that's the instructional designers, subject matter experts, creative directors, and content developers. On the demand side, the institution, agencies, and educators and users. And a second strategy is we will have a convergence session where there will be continuous demand and supply session, ensuring that these people have the skills necessary and are adhering to the process standards, and that user feedbacks are continuously taken into consideration, so that the next-gen e-content is of economic and pedagogical value as well. So in conclusion, e-learning solution actually is not just about a system or e-content, it's also about the teacher's role. I would like to share with you this proverbial term. You know, when the smart school was first introduced in Malaysia, there's this term that we use. We say that the teachers are no longer the sage on stage. They should be guide on the side. But in recent years, we have changed our views. We said the teachers have to be the sage on the stage, because, as you can see here, the teacher has bigger role to play. The teacher, when it comes to e-learning, the teacher has to develop and deliver the lessons. The teacher has to integrate the content in the lesson. The teacher has to customize the lessons or the content to the students' level. The teacher has to decide to repurpose the content for whatever objectives that she has or he has. And the teacher also is responsible for ensuring that the students are progressing. The teacher has to monitor. So really, the teacher has to be a part of the configuration of the e-learning solution. And the teacher upskilling is very important, and we hope that the standards and the curriculum for teacher training will incorporate these findings in terms of e-content, e-learning implementation and the implication on the teacher skills. So we are also hoping that the MOE will also upgrade, transform their teacher training curriculum to include these findings. So in conclusion, I would like to share some photos about the making of the process standards and the prototype of next-gen e-content. The website is there for your consideration should you like to look at the prototype and also the process standards. We welcome your inputs, and as you can see from the photos there, it is a very tedious session, and I'm glad to share with you that our Ministry of Education has agreed to adopt this next-gen e-content, and that we are providing workshops to do transfer of technology to 30 of our Ministry of Education officers. And hopefully you will see a lot more next-gen e-content coming from our Ministry of Education, and we hope to share that with you as well. So thank you very much for your audience. Shukran.
Thank you for your interesting presentation and shedding light on the Malaysian experience in the e-learning arena. Now the floor is open for questions. الباب مفتوح للأسئلة. The first question comes from the floor.
Hello. Yes, please. Dr. Norzan Razali, thank you for your nice presentation. We all agree that you have a good experiment in Malaysia. I have a small question regarding the instructional designers. Depending to your experiments in development e-content, the instructional designer is one of the core team instructional designer. You hear? Instructional designer. He is one of the core of the team of e-content development. What do you think is better, depends to your experiment, to have the instructional designer from the experts matters, which has some knowledge of IT, or the opposite, to be IT specialist and has some knowledge on the content itself or the syllabus? We have experience, but I know we need to know your result depends to your experience. Thank you.
Can I answer that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. A very good question. I think I have not actually discussed in great detail on the issues that we are confronting still with the role of the instructional designer and the IT experts in the content amongst the content developers, amongst the content development companies. You see, I mentioned, however, that each person or each expert has his and her own role. What happened is they are not working in synergy. They are working in silo. So it's like a factory. So what our process standards is proposing is that it should be a total solution, and it should be a team effort. So it's not like putting or making a product in a chain, in a factory, a manufacturing sector. Yes. So to answer your question, and in relation to what I said just now, that it has to be a concerted effort, there has to be a synergy amongst all these experts. Normally, and I believe this is a problem with many content, education content companies, that is, they do not have the right ID because there are not enough instructional designers in the world. That's a fact, even in Malaysia. Yeah? What happened was, what that caused was that IT experts with little experience or with some degree of experience in content development would assume the role of the instructional designer. Okay. Therefore, that is why you now have a lot of content that is very technology driven, because it was driven by IT experts with some knowledge in education content. And the problem with instructional designers are most of them are academians. So academians are theoretically grounded, essentially. Unless they have enough experience in the content development, they would be able to have a very intelligent infusion of media in the content. Otherwise, it's very much theoretical. So you see, the problem with instructional designer is theoretically grounded. With IT expert, it's technology driven. Oh, sorry. Okay. And when it comes to subject matter expert tends to be content grounded. They have to make sure that 1 + 1 is correct. Yeah, it's correct, and it's not 1 + 1 is not 0, essentially. And so these parties actually, for a good content exercise, this party needs to get together. And for us, as I have indicated just now, we have a bridge that is the creative director, because we have a pool of that in Malaysia, because we have a huge creative content industry. So we have the creative component working together with the instructional designer. Most of the instructional designers in Malaysia are in the university. So what we do, MDEC as an organization has the influence to actually, or has the right to put them all together as a team, and this team would assist our Ministry of Education in developing the next gen e-content.
Thank you.
Question.
First, thank you for this interesting presentation. I have 2 questions actually. The first question, Generation Z is used to small chunks of information. Today we are bombarded with information. If we cannot for a few seconds not look at our mobiles, check our SMSs, check our WhatsApp messages, check tweets, check emails, and so on. The information is all over the place. Kids or new generation is used to very short messages. They're used to watch small videos, not more than 3 minutes. Doesn't that affect the way kids or young people think today and observe the information, the way they receive the information? With long teaching lessons and so forth, when it comes to e-content, I think they will have a problem with the way they think and they used to. That's question number 1. Question number 2, in your last slide and your recommendations, you suggested that teachers are supposed to have different roles. This requires great skills. This is very expensive in today's technology movement and jump from today's where we are to what we intend to be. Isn't it better to put all the burden on the system in the middle phase that you had? Have the system suggest and create, and have teachers only use the systems in a minimal fashion. Make all the complication, have the system be the expert, and have the teacher only to put the information and transfer it to the others. And I have more questions. I think I'll leave it to later on. Thank you.